One of the quickest ways to get started with buttons in React Native is to using inbuilt button components. For a demo, I'm just gonna import the inbuilt button component from React Native, and I'm going to call it button. I'm gonna call it here, and as we can see, the error pops up saying they have to be a title prop and must be a string. So I'm going to call title with a string simple button. That's what I'm going to pass, simple button, and the button is rendered with simple button, and when I click on it, nothing happens. This is actually because we are not handling any event. So I'm gonna call an on press here, but I want to import here an alert from React Native, so that on press I bring an alert with a message. So I will do on press equals, and I will call a functional component which will be alert dot alert dot alert, and I will call the message that I want simple button pressed. Now when we click on the button, we see an alert which says simple button pressed. There we go, we're calling an alert. In Visual Studio Code, you can command click into the button, and you can see the touch definitions for the button props. For us, we've already called the on click, and we've called the title, and we can even do color, as you can see here. So this is good because you can see what type of stuff you can call. If I add disabled here, disabled, the button will become disabled because I've added the disabled prop. If I remove it, it goes back to normal, which is clickable. And for color, if I do color equals and give it a value which is maybe red, see the button turns red. Okay, so this is the inbuilt button component. Although it's not very flexible, but it's the quickest way to add interactions into our applications in React Native. Okay, so the next option number 2 of having buttons in our applications, I'm gonna use touchable opacity. Touchable opacity. First of all, I want to just check if I've got text imported. I've got text over there imported, so I'm gonna call it touchable button. Let me just add some space here so that I can have some space to work on. Touchable opacity. I think this will auto import it. Let me see. Yeah, it's already imported over there. Touchable opacity, and I'm gonna need this text inside both opening and closing. Delete that like that, and I've got touchable opacity wrapping the text. What I will do next is to start calling in. So as you can see right here, we have touchable opacity. Let me just make it visible. I'm gonna style this text and add style, color, white. We should be able to see it over there now, and I'm gonna add a bit of bigger font size. I'll give it 24. Would that be better? Yeah, it is fine. And I've styled the text. So what can happen now, I can style this touchable opacity, and every style that I put around here will be wrapping this text around. Okay, and if I call any props here, that will be for this text. Okay, so I can add background color. I can make it teal. Oh, sorry, I didn't call style equals teal. As you can see, now we have teal color as the background, and I can do padding just to give it a bit of padding of 15. Will that be okay? Let me see. Yeah, padding. As you can see, now we got padding around the text right here. There is some padding, and I can give it a border radius, just to have a bit of roundness. Border radius maybe of 5. Yeah, it's more starting to look like a button, and everything I'm just calling it on this touchable opacity inbuilt component. And there is something quite interesting that I can call as well, just to show you. If I was to click on this, do you see what's happening? Because it's a touchable opacity, but I can call active opacity and call it 1. I want you to notice difference. It's not, it doesn't look clickable. But if I reduce this to be 0.5, when I click, you can see it fading away. Yeah, so you can play around with these values, but I love it. I love to leave it maybe 0.2. Yeah, so that it looks clickable. And on here I can then call on press as well. On press equals, I do my functional component, arrow function, alert, which we've already imported before right here. I'll call alert dot alert and have the message that I want. I'll say touchable button pressed. Yeah, when I click on it, there it is. We see touchable opacity button pressed, and we have the button there, which is quite interesting. And if I was to see what other stuff touchable opacity comes with, as I said earlier on, we can do Command Shift it will take us to where it is, and we can see all the props that we can call for that button here. The third button that I want to show you guys is the pressable, using the pressable component built in into React Native. Let me just separate these buttons so that we are able to see the differences. I've already got it. Justify content space around. That will separate the buttons, and I can then zoom in a bit so that you are able to see, and I can call my text here. Text. I'll say pressable button. So I've got pressable button over there. Let me quickly style it straight away. Style equals, I'll say color is white, font size is maybe 24. Yeah, and then there we have pressable button, and I need to wrap this around pressable. I need to wrap pressable around the text. Pressable, and I need to take this to below like that, and import pressable. It's already imported. Yeah, there we have it imported. Is a pressable button. We can handle on press here as well, on press, and then I do my on press function, and then we call the alert that we already imported, alert. Then I call my text pressable button pressed, and when you press, you'll see the alert. Now let's give our pressable button a bit of styling. I will call in the styling here. Style equals, and I call background color. I'll give you the background color of green. Is that okay? Yeah. And I'll call padding of 15 like we did the other button, and I'll say border radius of 5 like the other button. Border radius of 5. And there we have our button pressable, and we've added style to it. If I press it, we see the alert. I want you to notice nothing happens to this button when we press it. It remains as it is, but this one has got opacity on it, but this pressable one, nothing happens. It's just still. Okay, so to get around this this pressable component, basically what it gives us is to have access to a pressed state, so we can have different styles based on whether the button is pressed or not. So for that, we can turn this to a function like this and call pressed, and it will be an arrow function. pressed let me just format this. No, okay. Style pressed with this, else it will be, or this, yeah, or let me copy the same, or yeah, format. Okay, so we are saying if pressed we want to bring this, I'll say else not pressed, it will be dark green. Yeah, so if this pressable is not pressed, it will be dark green. If it's pressed, it will be green. Let's see. I don't know if you notice the difference. I press it, it goes to light green. Not pressed is dark green. Goes light. It should be visible. Oh, I can maybe turn this to red just so that you see. You see, I pressed it. So basically the state, based on the state, we are calling a particular style of the button. You can also pass in functions on the pressable component that get changed when the button changes state. For example, I can call in on press in. It will get called as soon as the button is pressed. Call in should I do an alert or console.1 pressed in. Let me see. Yeah, as soon as I press, on pressed in gets code. We can also call on press out. Is one of the props. Let me do that. On press out equals function console.1 on press out. As soon as I release this button, the function gets called. And there is stuff like on press long too.